ओम सदाशिवसमारंभां शंकराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। ओम सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ओम शांति शांति शांति। Okay. So last time we saw with all the description etc. that it is not available. Any questions or clarifications or what? So many years of attending the class, but same thing. Okay, any questions, clarification? Unmute yourself and ask. Okay, I muted everyone. Otherwise, we are having too many disturbances. Okay, since no one is asking a question, we saw.
I have a question for Vijay.
Okay, shoot. Yeah, Vijay, shoot.
That in one of the slokas, I think, na sandrishet tishtati rupamasya. That is the rupam.
Yeah, that's the last verse we did. Yes. See, when you are talking about the reality as the source of the creation, one tends to conceptualize it. Some nebulous thing, To counteract that concept, the Shastra is saying there is no form like that. You'll never see a form like this. It is not an entity that you can objectify with your eyes or any other sense organs or conceptualize with your mind. Many of us conceptualize in our mind, limitless, some vague idea you have. Why? Because in most of our learnings, in fact almost all subjects, you are learning about concepts. Whether you are studying chemistry, physics, economics, psychology, it's all a concept. Certain paradigms are there, certain concepts are there. But Vedanta is the underlying reality behind all concepts. Therefore, any concept of the truth is not the truth. Unless you negate that concept, you are not going to reach the truth. That's why he is saying, na rupamasya. That's why if you also look in the way I teach, that's why the way I teach, I don't say this is Atma, this is Anatma. Do I ever present it like that? Because that's conceptualization. Yeah. Because you're talking, even though you're talking of non-duality, you're creating a duality by the way you're presenting. That is why you attend a discussion group on Vedanta. Whether it is a study group or a Gita home study discussion group or any group like that. You will find within 3 months you can start talking about it. Why? Because you have conceptualized everything nicely. You can talk about it. It's easy. But you attend a full year for a Vedanta class, you still can't talk about it. You are struggling to say anything. Why? Because the way it's presented is non-conceptual. So in a non-conceptual presentation, it is difficult for the mind to understand it and present it. And that's important. I don't mind if people can't talk about it after 5 years also, as long as they're understanding. That's why sometimes I ask people to talk. Rare, but I do. So that I want to see how much of understanding is there. It doesn't matter. Whatever you say, I will understand how much you know. And if you're downloading things from the net, etc., that also I will know. Because I know what is there on the net anyway. Why? I also spend some time surfing the net. I should know all the Purvapakshas well, no? So I do. I also listen to all sorts of people. Yeah, why? Because I should know what's happening in the society if I am a teacher. Therefore, non-conceptual understanding is available only in Vedanta. Every other understanding, every other learning that you have done is through a process of conceptualization. So here, from the concept of who we are negating things. You have a concept of who you are, a awareful being. I am so and so an awareful being. So now take off all the being part. Body, mind, this, that, notions about yourself, role, this, that. What is left behind is you. Which can't be objectified, which need not be objectified, because you know I am, I exist. I am is known. That is important. The Swata Siddha nature of the Atma is important. That's why I am again putting Atma in Timbuktu, beyond everything. Why is I? About the I we are talking about. We are unfolding what I am, what you are. Not something sitting somewhere else. So that's a way of presenting and a way of explaining. Okay. That's why he said, na rupamasya, etc. To prevent any form of conceptualization. Clear about this or any other questions?
One more. Then all know that his form is not within the field of vision and all. We all know. Then viduraha amrutaha te bhavanti.
Yeah.
When those know, they become immortal. Means all know this.
In fact, yeah, you discover you are immortal. Because what is it? You are seeking freedom from all limitations. Since you are seeking freedom from all limitations of time and space, that is presented as immortality. You can't be limited by space and say you are immortal. That will be a Chiranjeevi at the maximum. To say you are immortal but limited by space is not really immortal. You are there for a long time. Like Chiranjeevis. We are supposed to have 7 Chiranjeevis. Vyasa, Hanumanji, Ashwatthama, Parashurama, etc. There are few mentioned. Chiranjeevis. They have been there, they will be there until the whole Kalpa is over. That's all it means. But they are limited entities, limited by time and space. Unless they have the knowledge like how Anjaneya has, how Vyasa has, that I am the consciousness which is unlimited by time and space. So that's why it is presented as Amritam. Immortality is, really speaking, freedom from the understanding of time and space. Freedom from the limitation of time and space. Do you really think being a Chiranjeevi is a blessing? If you take yourself as a finite entity, being a Chiranjeevi is not a blessing. If you know the truth, fine, no issues. If you don't know the truth, being a Chiranjeevi is a problem. Why? You will have to say goodbye to every child and grandchild you have had, every friend that you have had. They all will die in front of you. Every friend will die. Every partner that you have picked up will die. Every child that you have will die. Every grandchild you have will die. Everyone will die. Better not pick up. Then you are leading a very lonely life because you don't have the knowledge of the truth. If you have knowledge of the truth like Vyasa or Hanumanji or something, no problems. Why? Because then you are free. Then living, not living doesn't make a difference. Absolutely no difference. That is the whole thing. So Amritadai Bhavanti is understanding you discover yourself as free from time and space. That is immortality. Everything else is mortal only. Where is immortality? Everything else is suffering otherwise, as I said. That is why for Ashwatthama, the blessing of long life was actually a punishment for what he did. Killing the Pandavas' children when they were sleeping, completely unacceptable as a warrior. Therefore, in those times, the warrior ethics has come, and after the war was over, on top of it, he behaved like a terrorist. So for him, it is this thing. Plus, that wound will never heal. Where the money was removed from his forehead, that wound will never heal. So he is always in pain. Some pain is always there. Agreed, is a warrior. This thing. So pain is. You can take pain in your stride. But that pain is a reminder of what he has done. And that long life is the tapas for him to be free from it. Even now there are some villages on the foothills of the Himalayas who talk about this huge powerful guy coming in the sadhu's dress, asking for bhiksha. And what does he want in bhiksha? Some oil. You ask him, Maharaj ji, tel kiske liye chahiye? Why do you want oil? He says, घाव भरने के लिए, to apply it on my wound. I heard about this and went looking for him. I mean, to meet someone like that is phenomenal, no? Someone who has lived 5,000 years. 5,000 years of tapas he has done. He is not the person who was in the battlefield of Mahabharata. He is not the same guy. Even though he is paying for the crimes, he is not the same guy. 5,000 years of tapas here, come on. Missed him very narrowly. I reached in the morning and they said previous evening he had come and gone. Barely 12 hours. So I said, not meant to be. I had met him some other lifetime. That is another story for some other time, not now. Okay, yeah. So, it's a problem otherwise. Immortality is freedom from time and space. Discovering you are limitless, let the body drop after that, you remain as limitless awareness. One with in harmony with the whole universe, whether it is there or it disappears in pralaya. You remain as pure awareness. That is moksha, nirvana, etc. Now, he is introducing some meditations. Why? The knowledge of the truth is gained, any knowledge is gained when a pramana is operated. There is no knowledge without a means of knowledge, a pramana. A lot of mystics speaks a lot of different things. They will present some subjective experience as the truth, etc. It doesn't work. I have tried and gone for all those experiences also. I repeated some of those experiences. I have spoken to these mystics also. They are presenting only some experience of beatitude. That's not moksha. Okay? Therefore, knowledge will happen only in a pramana. That pramana is operated by the teacher in Shravanam. Therefore, knowledge, any knowledge that has taken place for anyone is in Shravanam. Then the Upanishad also talks about Mananam and Nididhyasanam. Mananam is to clear your doubts, because the knowledge presented is contrary to every experience that you have. Therefore, you need some mananam, some reflection on it, some challenging your understanding, so that your understanding becomes clear. Then you have to make it your own. One has to make it our own. Our minds are not that integrated that as soon as you know it, you will live it. It's not that. And we don't have that level of integrity. Nobody has. Okay? Yeah. Because all of us function, sometimes or the other, denying what we know. We all know about hygiene, but street food is not hygienic. But we all eat it. We all eat it. Vasant Panchami day, I went to collector's colony in Chambur, because someone whom I knew was doing a Saraswati Puja, big affair. So I went there. I'm walking back through camp area. What do you think I did? Picked up a plate of nice ragada patties for my dinner. It's not exactly street food, but that restaurant is not the top in hygiene. We all know, but we all act contrary to it. No? Speaker included. Said, I don't want to make you all feel guilty, okay? That's not my point I'm making. The point I'm making is, because we deny our knowledge. My Bhelpuri wala is okay. The kulfi wala who brings the kulfi to my house, he is great. Very hygienic, Or the dal vada that you will pick up, because you don't get that in any restaurant. I know what happens. Half of Bombay eats on the road only. Calcutta also, a lot of people eat. So because of that, meaning what? We are denying our knowledge. That means between our emotional self and our understanding self, the intellectual self, there is a gap. Therefore, what we know does not always flow through into our lives. Yeah. It doesn't flow through. There's always some block. So the act of meditation is the act of trying to integrate that, trying to lower this gap, close this gap, so that what I know, as Swami Chinmayanji used to say, what has gone into the head sinks into the heart. If it doesn't, it will leak out through the mouth. You all talk about it, but it won't become a fact of your life. Therefore, the sinking in is dhyanam. Therefore, that dhyanam he is presenting in the next verse. Simple. He doesn't explain dhyanam too much. That in the camp we will do various types of meditation, okay? In this camp that we are having, one major part of it is various types of meditation. Yeah. Very, very interesting one that many of you may not have seen or heard about. Swamini and I were sitting and discussing it. She will do that. Yeah, working out the details. Yeah, and they will be excellent for your health also. Yeah, it is a double-edged thing. This meditations. Okay, but here he puts it in a very simple way. Yatha panchava vuttishtante jnanani manasa saha buddhistana vichashtete tam ahu paramam gatim. What is this paramam gatim? Simple, he says. Pancha jnanani manasa saha avatishtanti. The 5 jnanani, sense organs. The 5 sense organs, along with the mind, your emotional being. buddhischa, your reasoning, your knowledge. Na vicheshtete. It does not shake. Shake from what? This knowledge. That means you recognize I am Brahman. The knowledge is there. And your sense organs are not pulling you outside. There is no unnecessary input. Your emotions are not going here and there. Thinking is not going here and there. The whole thing is resolved in this knowledge. Navacheshtete tamahu paramam gatim. Why? Because everything is soaking in the knowledge. Everything is soaking in the knowledge of the self. There is no vritti of jnana also. Vritti jnanam has happened. Kritva jnanam swayam nashyet. Having given you the knowledge, the vritti dies down into what? What remains? You, awareness remains. You, the consciousness remains. Buddhi, mind, everything. Your emotions, your thinking, your reasoning, your sense organ, everything resolved into the consciousness that you are. That is nididhyasana. It's not simple meditation, it's nididhyasana. Then what happens when the mind thinks of something? Again, I am that consciousness, free from all thought. Back into it. Remain. That's it. Aur kya baat hai? Nididhyasana is that simple. You have to immerse yourself in this knowledge. My teacher used to give a very good example for this. People from Calcutta will love this example. It's like making a rasagulla. First you make the gulla, then you soak it in that sugar syrup. The sugar syrup is not a dip, no? You don't dip it and take it and eat it. You soak it for a few hours until the rasa permeates the gulla and it becomes rasagulla. So even when someone diet conscious takes the rasagulla and squeezes it and eats it, it is still sweet. Same way, you immerse yourself in this knowledge until the knowledge permeates you. So when life challenges squeezes you out, you still have the knowledge with you. Because life challenges will squeeze you. World is not going to change because you gain knowledge. But you are free. The knowledge remains. I am Ananda. So that is the thing. That's what meditation is about. Immersing in the knowledge. So in Rishikesh what many sadhus do. I used to live with them. I said, बैठ के ध्यान क्यों करना है? सीधा प्रमाण में ही जाएगा. I will get myself exposed to the pramana. So morning to night they are attending classes. Like when Rishikesh I was attending classes, I would attend the highest, so first 2 classes I would attend. First class was Brahma Sutras. I would attend that. Then next was Upanishad Bhashya. So I would sit for that also. Acha revision hai. Then I would come off. Ashram में थोड़ा building करने का है, काम करना है. Then I had to come back again to the same place for a grammar class in the afternoon. So I would come off. But there were people, after that, Panchadeshi class, they'll sit for that. Until 11 o'clock, they're just sitting for classes. Why? Manan hota hai na, vichar hota hai. Why do you have to do Nididhyasanam when you are hearing continuously and you are owning it up? It is not that you are just sunke jana hai. You are following it very closely, letting your mind go along with the words of the teaching. Then 2:30 they are back. 2 o'clock they are back. After lunch and everything, 2 o'clock they are back. Up to 5 o'clock again they are listening. And the teacher is also the same. So immerse yourself. Now it's very difficult when you are living lives here to have an immersive experience like that. 1 class a week is difficult, no? something or the other turns up and you'll miss. Natural, city life. That's why I give an immersive experience, camp. From 7 o'clock in the morning straight up to lunchtime, except for a little break for breakfast, all class, immerse. Evening again immerse, night again satsang, immerse. Immersive experience. But you can't take it too long. 4 days to 1 week is enough. Immersive experience. This is how knowledge becomes your own. So either you meditate, if you can't do that, which most of us cannot. Camp itself is difficult. What are you talking about 1 month immersion? It is not difficult. You have to learn to make it your priority, which many don't. That is the issue. So, immersive experience. Immerse yourself in Nididhyasanam every day. Sit with this knowledge. And listen to some sections again. Why do you think I take the pains to record it, put it up on YouTube, etc.? Yeah. No, immersive. Create that. Do some Nididhyasanam regularly. Exposing to the knowledge. So the whole thing will settle down in you. That is called Paramam Gatim. Then he's trying, in the next verse, for this practice of Nididhyasanam, he is striking a cautionary note. Cautionary note. Tam yogamiti manyante sirim indriya dharanam apramastada bhavati yogo hi prabhavapyayo. Tam yogamiti manyante. Very often in the Shastra, the Upanishad especially, yoga and meditation are used interchangeably. Okay? Are used interchangeably. Yoga and Dhyanam. He says, Sam yogamiti manyante. What is yoga? Stiram mana indriya dharanam. When you are keeping your mind and sense organs, everything in one place, here in this knowledge. Okay? Which is what Patanjali in his famous sutras defined as Chitta Vritti Nirodha, mastery of the mind. Keeping the mind in one place. Wherever you have decided, it is there. Stiram. But then he strikes a caution here. Apramatsa stada bhavati. You have to be very alert here, he says. Why alert? Yoga ye prabhavapyayo. Yoga में ऊपर नीचे हो सकता है. This guy learned meditation. For a few years he did it also, very sincerely. Now he's a great meditator. Quiet in his mind. Yeah. So, Om, mind is quiet. Then he gave it up for a few years. What do you think will happen to him now when he sits in meditation? You think he'll have the same ability as he had some time back? Never. He's like a singer. You're an expert singer. Very often people wonder, this man has been singing for the last 40 years. Why is he doing riyaz every day or at least every other day? Ask him, he'll tell you. If I don't do riyaz for a couple of weeks, I will know where I am making mistakes. If I don't do it for a month, my critics will know. If I don't do it for 3 months, my audience will know. If you're having an informed audience. Not a Bombay audience that goes just because it's good to be seen in the right place. Yeah, so that's how it is. Because it's a knack of being with yourself. So that knack It's like, supposing you have learned cycling, but not cycled for a few years, or not driven a car for a few years. You will still be able to drive, but you will be rusty. It will not be as good as before. You have to be more careful. Same thing. As meditation, an act of being with yourself. So if you have not been fairly regular at it, ऊपर नीचे होता है. I have known people who used to slip into samadhi. Then they found, no, you are doing too much of this. And then they stopped it for some time. And then after that, they are struggling to sit in meditation. They have to sort of start with some basics. They are getting it fast. Better than a beginner, of course. But they still struggle. Yoga hi prabhavapyayo. Upar niche hota hai. That won't happen with the knowledge. Once you know the truth, that will not happen. Knowledge is, because this knowledge is not memory based. I studied French in school, knowledge. How much of that French you remember now? Few words. Très bien, s'il vous plaît, Gracia. Just 3-4 words, उससे ज़्यादा कुछ नहीं. Why? Out of touch. Why? Some of the Panini Sutras I am not remembering because I have not taught it. Came to Bombay, I could speak fluently in Sanskrit. Now I am not that fluent when I am speaking. Why? Because practice is not. So knowledge also goes. If it is memory based, definitely it will go. Self knowledge is not memory based. For it to be memory based, it has to go out of your mind. French knowledge, all those words are gone out of that mind. All the conjugations you have done is gone out. So now you don't remember anything. Atma cannot go out of your mind. It's always there as I. You can forget some of the verses of the Upanishad. You can forget the verses of the Gita. That can happen because that is memory based. But the essence, the knowledge, I am consciousness, limitlessness cannot go out. Just not happens. It cannot be out of sight, out of mind. Tameva bhantam anubhati sarvam. I shining, everything else shines after me. So I am the consciousness, always a self-evident. And because I am self-evident, I can't be missed. Therefore, once you gain the knowledge, meaning it's clear for you, crystal clear, you owned it up. It can't go out. So how long do I need to meditate? Until you own it up. Yeah. You want to say time comes when you stop meditating? Yeah. Let meditation drop from you. Samaji will drop after 1 week. No. I studied from a great teacher in Rishikesh, Tirthaji. So one lady came and asked him, Maharaji, how many hours a day do you meditate? Because we have this feeling, no, sadhu should sit down and meditate. In fact, there are some sampradayas, traditions that say, unless you can sit and meditate for 3 hours, you are not fit for sannyasa. Half the sannyasis I know around now will not be fit for it. Three hours? So you know what he replied, Tirthaji? He said, Beti, why are you putting this disturbance called meditation into my mind? And he laughed. And the laughter, everything was clear. Why? The truth is so clear to him, why does he need to meditate? So when you are at that level, stop meditating. You don't have to. Yeah. No problems. In fact, you won't feel the need to do it. Until then, apramatena vetavyam yoga hi pravamotyayo. Without any being alert there, do it. Yeah. Okay, the next couple of verses, he is presenting the way of knowing it, more or less, okay, some steps in it. Okay. Naiva vacha na manasa praptum shakya na chakshusha asti iti bhruto nyatra katam tadupalabhyate. Naiva vacha na manasa, neither by words nor by your mind can you objectify the truth. Praptum chakshase na chakshusha. You cannot gain it. Gain it meaning grasp it. You can't objectify it. The words that the Shastra uses are not descriptive. They are revealing. There is a big description between the big difference between description and revealing. Description, you are piling on adjectives. The more adjective you pile on, the more finite it becomes. Any object is like that. The more the adjectives, the more the finite it is. And the problem is, people present the Atma is also. Atma is infinite, divine, supreme bliss. Atma is infinite, divine, supreme bliss. 10 bar suna, you think you know. What have you understood? Infinite. Everything I know is finite. What is infinite? It's a concept, something very vast, conceptualizing. Divine. What is divine? Divine is a vague term. What do you mean divine? In the form of light. Great. Another concept has come now. Atma is like a light. Supreme. What is supreme? Supreme commander. Or Lux Supreme. Which is, what are you talking about? Supreme means what? Yeah, I mean, what does it mean? Bliss. Highly subjective. Because what is bliss? This is called piling up of adjectives which may have no meaning. Whereas when you say Satyam, Jnanam, Anantam, Brahma, it's entirely different. What is one consciousness. That itself is what it exists, free from time and space. Entirely different. That's unfolding the Shastra. That's not piling up of adjectives. It is non-descriptive. Satyam, Jnanam, Anantam, Brahman is not description of Brahman. It's revealing the true nature of Brahman. It's entirely different. That is not the vacha that is talked about here. Okay. Na vacha, na manasa. Manasa. Yeah, I see. It's a book very clear. Yeah, I saw Brahman in meditation. I got a wonderful experience. It's not Brahman. Why? It's mind. Mind playing tricks on you. No, but it's real. It fulfills all the descriptions that are talked about in Shastra. Okay, but still an experience. Taking it as true, validating your experience, I'll say it's still an experience only. No? Experience is finite, so your understanding of Brahman is equally finite. Na vacha, na manasa, praptum shakyaha, na chakshusha is not an object to be seen. Then, first step, asti iti bhruvato vanyatra katam tadupalapyate. Minimum, you have to take as Brahman asti iti. Brahman asti iti, minimum. Starting point. Not ending point, starting point. There is something called Brahman which I must know. Brahmavet apnoti param. The knower of Brahman gains absolute, gains freedom from all problems. There is something asti. That's the starting point. Avoid as an end. Brahman aham asmi iti. So that he is clarifying in the next verse. Asti iti eva upalabhyaha tatat bhavena chobhyaha asti iti ve upalabhadasya tattva bhavaha prasidati. Asti iti eva upalabhyaha. Tatvabhavena chobhyaha. First what? Asti iti you have to know. You have to have this thing, no? It's like someone came to my Gita class and I talked about Vedanta as freeing you from all the problems of isolation, loneliness, grief, etc. So the question was, is that possible? I said, yeah. Generational people have been doing. Okay. Now I'm willing to give it a try. Asti iti. Starting point. This very often in tradition is presented as Shraddha. Asti iti jnanam is Shraddha. Okay. Brahman is there. What is that? I don't know yet, but I know if I listen to Vedanta, I will understand it. Asti iti upalabhyaha. Okay. Tatvabhavena chobhyaha. Tatvabhavena. There is the reality, is the truth. Okay. Asti iti eva upalabdhasya tatvabhava prasidati. Then if you take it as asti iti, then the teaching will work. Why? You are giving a chance for the teaching to work. I don't think all this is there. You are not even giving a chance for the teaching to work. Asti iti jnanam shraddha. Like when you say, Ishvara is not supposed to be believed in, it's supposed to be understood. There is something called Ishvara and you have to understand, not believe. Okay. That's the proposition I can deal with. Belief, etc., then I have to live and die with that belief. Kya karega? No, it's to be understood. Okay. That means there is a chance for logic, reasoning, etc. Okay, fine. Asti iti. Similarly, the reality asti iti. Then what is the next step? That Brahman, which I have taken as asti, has to become asmi. The whole teaching is that. From asti to asmi, itna hi hai. Brahman asti to Brahman asmi, itna hi hai. Yeah, that's all the teaching is. इतना ही बात है, इतना ही बात है, लेकिन बड़ा बात होता है. It can be a big job. Okay. Yeah. Tad bhavaha prasidati. Your mind is conducive to that learning. Because you are given a chance, you are giving your mind a chance to learn. Because if you don't take it as a possibility, where are you going to even learn? We all may have started in different manners. We may have just started out of curiosity. That's okay. I started out of curiosity. क्या है देखेगा. What is this about? I had seen my teacher. I was impressed by the way he walked. My God, he is walking like a warrior. ये किधर से आया ये walk? Yeah, he's got a warrior's walk. Those days, when I met him, he was barely 40. Okay. Many of you know him in his 80s or 70s. At 40s, to walk like a warrior. Oh my God. When I listened to him, the whole thing changed. Started with curiosity. Became mumukshutvam. Oh my God, this is what I have been searching for. Jignasa is exactly what I want to know the truth. Yeah. And to know the truth, no compromises. No sacrifices. क्या sacrifice है? When you are gaining the infinite, what you are talking about sacrifice? कुछ नहीं है. So that's how the process is. Yeah, you give your mind a chance to know the truth. Open your mind enough to know the truth. Of course, By now, this class is different. They have got insights also. At least I don't think there's anyone here who has not got insights into the truth. उतना तो हो गया है. Yeah. Then he gives a lakshana here. Okay? Gives a lakshana. This also anything in Vedanta can be misunderstood, and this is also misunderstood. Okay. यदा सर्वे प्रमुच्यन्ते कामाः येस्य हृदि स्थिताः अथ मर्त्यो अमृतो भवति यत्र ब्रह्म समुष्णुते. यदा when सर्वे कामाः प्रमुच्यन्ते, all the desires drop. What type of desires? Yasya hridaya shritaha. That is coming up in your mind. Meaning what? Not hunger, thirst, etc. They are not coming up in your mind, okay? They are coming up in your sukshma sharira, all right. But they are pranic activities. The body is demanding for food for survival. If you have hunger, that's not a desire. I want to eat a pizza. That's a desire. Hunger what क्या है? खाने क्या? क्या खाने का? कुछ भी चलेगा. दाल रोटी है ना, बस हो गया. खिचड़ी चलेगा. I want to eat pizza. That what you want to eat may be a desire. Hunger itself is hunger. ठीक है. You have to keep the body and soul together. खाने का. खा लेगा कुछ. That's a different thing. That is not the desire we are talking about. Hridistita. I feel isolated, lonely, and I want to get rid of this feeling of finitude by getting something. That is the desire we are talking about. Yada sarve pramuchyante. When all of it goes, how will it go? People misunderstand this verse and say, therefore I should not have desires. That's not what the Shastra is saying. Shastra is not against your desire. The Shastra is saying manage your desire. Yes, that much it says. So managing your desire is karma yoga. Yeah. Prasada buddhi, etc. There is no karma yoga if you don't have desires. Yeah, if you don't have desires, sadhu ban jao, aur kya? Kuch hai nahi baki na. Karma yogi you are because there are desires. Okay. Therefore, but yada pramuchyante, when you are free from it. Okay. Ataha mrityoho amrita bhavati yatra brahma samushnute. He attained Brahman here itself. When he attains, put it like this, when he attains Brahman here, because that yada can go with anyone, anything. That's the beauty of Sanskrit. Yada brahma samushnate yadaha mrityo amrita bhavati atas sarve kamaha pramuchyante. Ulta. When you know the truth, when you discover your ananda, no more desire. Desire is there only out of a habit. That much desire will be there. The desires are no more binding in nature. They don't bind you. क्या महाराज जी कॉफ़ी पिएगा? हाँ कॉफ़ी. Tells his wife, please get a coffee for the Swami. The wife says, oh my God, decoction is over. Doesn't matter. चाय पी लेगा, पानी पी लेगा. कि फर्क पाएंगे? If that is what your desire is, you can have desire the whole world. What's your problem? What's your problem? Whole world is not an issue, no? Why? Because none of the desire is binding you. None of the desires are binding you. If the desires are not binding, then what is the problem? Therefore, when you know the truth, the desires become free, you become free from the desires, they no more bind you. Are you understanding? The verse is ulta. Not that when desires draw, you become immortal. That means everyone who's in a depression, doesn't have desire for anything, should be a wise person, right? That's not that thing. The other way around. When you know the truth, no desire becomes a binding anyway. Yeah. No desire binds you, no desire ties you down, no desire can hold you. Then why will desire come up at all? Because you have a body, you're a human being. You're functioning as a human being. Yeah. Because you're functioning as a human being, the body and mind will have some what we call as badita desires. Desires which are negated, can't really bind you. That's why I always say, na, you ask a South Indian Mahatma early morning, Maharaji, what will you have? Milk or coffee? Coffee, of course. दक्षिण के कॉफ़ी नहीं पिएंगे तो हाथ पाए नहीं चलता है. जो उसका पंजाबन महात्मा महाराज जी कॉफ़ी पिएगी कि दूध पिएगी? अरे दूध पी सकता है तो फिर कॉफ़ी क्यों पीता है? What do you think all the so-called farmers were sitting in agitation near the Delhi border asking for MSP, and they're all sitting in their Mercedes cars and everything, okay? SUVs and all that. Poor farmers, okay? They want minimum support price. Very poor farmers. Their cars are worth a couple of crores, but they are poor, okay? What do you think they're having every morning?
For 38 products they want, sir.
Yeah.
For 38 products.
Yeah. So what do you think they're having every morning? दूध पीता है, फार्मर है, पंजाब की है. Natural. Similarly, your background will decide, no? Your background will decide. Yeah. The South Indian will want is sambar rice. The North Indian will want is paratha. The Italian will want is pizza or is pasta. Italian can also be wise people, okay? Just because we have a problem lady here who's Italian doesn't mean other Italians can't know the truth. Of course they can know the truth. Yeah. Yeah. But the Britisher will not want any of his British food. Useless food it is. He'll want the Indian curry for a change. One of the most tasteless food is British food, except their high teas. That type of desire is not a problem. Badita, it's called badita desires. Desires which have been negated. Or like Puja Swamiji used to say, non-binding desires. They don't bind you. Yeah. Yeah. You think if a musician gains this knowledge, he'll stop being a musician? Tomorrow onwards, I will not sing. बहुत वैराग्य हो गया. Ananda, he'll express himself in song. Like Sadashiva Brahmendra. You know, he wrote a vritti on the Brahma Sutras. Nobody knows that. He wrote a small little, just few lines, not enough to be called a bhashya, but a small explanation called a vritti on the Brahma Sutras. He was a wise person. And great musicians, he expressed himself in music. Cricketer. Puja Swamiji used to love cricket. Or a martial artist. Love martial arts. Non-binding desires. These are all non-binding desires, they are not an issue. Therefore, be careful when you say yada kamaha pramuchyante, etc. You know, yeah. It's to be understood that when you are Ananda, you no more have a sense of finitude or isolation. Therefore, you don't need anything to be Ananda. You will need a few things to be comfortable. That's fine. That's fine. You need some things to live your life. That's okay. Yeah, that's because you're still living a human life. You not become a non-human because you gain the truth. Your functioning is still through human body and mind. Therefore, what the human body and mind requires, you will also require. But none of them will be binding. Even if you don't get what you require, it is not binding by nature. So understand this well. Think about it. Good place to stop. No class next Friday as we are all in the camp, as I said before. Okay. So I will see you all.